Welcome to All-Star Weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's been 4 weeks since Matt Crafton claimed the checkered flag at Kansas. Tonight on the show, our Michael Waltrip talks with Rowdy Busch about the pressure of driving for the boss when the boss is you. And speaking of All-Stars, we'll introduce you to the drivers who are hoping the Truck Series catapults them onto the big stage of the sport. With home field bragging rights on the line, these horses are ready to run. Hard to pick a favorite in this one. Matt Crafton is the most recent winner and leads the points, but his teammate Johnny Sauter wants redemption after a points infraction pushed him down to second. Jeb Burton is just a rookie, but he did it again. What are we talking about, and could he score his first Truck Series win? To do so, he'll have to beat Kyle Busch, who is back to play tonight, and so is the reigning Sprint Cup Series champ, looking for his first win in a truck. Welcome to Concord, North Carolina, less than 20 miles from downtown Charlotte. The track that sits in NASCAR's backyard once again hosts All-Star Weekend. Tonight it's the truckers who are in the spotlight. It's been a while since we raced, but what a season we've had so far.
White flag in the air. Oh, no crash. Crash behind her. Just go with it. Johnny Sauter's going to win at Daytona.
Yeah, guys, good job. I'm proud of you guys. We were on this one.
And the celebration begins. Johnny Sauter has been able to dominate once again at Martinsville.
Back-to-back victory lane for the 98 team.
Now to turn number 4, Kyle Larson's going to win at Rockingham. Kyle gets his first career win in just his 5th Camping World Truck Series start. Looking at Whitney.
There you go, buddy. Come get that checkered flag.
The celebration begins for Matt Crafton.
Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Voda, and welcome to an all-star setup. Big stage, big stakes with some big names in the field. No doubt, Kyle Busch is always a favorite when we come to this track, but he has had engine trouble all weekend, and he's not the biggest story coming into this race. We have a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and fire the engines. We begin with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Krista. What an incredible season it's already been for Thor Sport Racing. We've had 4 races in the Camping World Trucks in 2013, and this team has won 3 of them. Now, Johnny Sauter has posted top 5s in each of the events, but prior to the beginning of the Kansas race, NASCAR took their fuel cell. They illegally altered the foam in that, and his crew chief, Joe Shear, who you see on the right here, has been suspended for 4 races and given a $10,000 fine. So who will call the shots? There's a look at Jesse Saunders. Jesse will be the interim crew chief calling the shots for the number 98 Carolina Nut race team. Now here's the standings as they look right now. This is post-penalty. Sauter lost 25 points as well as his owner did too, so that moves him from first down to second behind his teammate Matt Crafton, who is our most recent winner. Now he and Jeb Burton both are 13 points back, but Johnny Sauter is officially second on the heels of 2 victories. Now let's check in with my broadcast partner from Emporia, Virginia. Here's Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that fine introduction. Brad Keselowski is a Sprint Cup Series champion, multi-time winner in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. But as Krista Voda said, has never won in the Camping World Truck Series. He finished second here at this race last year. Why does he want to win so bad? For a number of reasons. One of which, he is trying to become the 24th driver in history to win in all 3 of NASCAR's top divisions. Can he do it tonight? If so, he'll have to do it from the 19th starting position here at Charlotte. Now we're up to the booth and Rick Allen.
And of course, I think it's a little bit crazy that we're talking about Kyle Busch on a 7-race losing streak. Don't you guys think that's crazy?
Yes. No. No, it's not ridiculous.
What do you mean it's not ridiculous? This is a guy that's finished second 3 times of those 7 races. He's had longer losing streaks than that here in the Truck Series, and this is a place that he's going to probably get back to victory lane. But for the guy to have 7 races where he doesn't win, 3 of those in the top 2, I think it's ridiculous.
But this guy has won 30 truck races in 106 starts. He wins about every 3rd or 4th start. So 7 is double as many as he's supposed to be going. He's won 6 times in the Nationwide Series here at Charlotte. He's won 4 of the last 7 in the trucks. He's going on his 3rd engines when they throw the green flag tonight, and he's still the favorite. How can you say that's not a slump?
Well, when he wins twice in a row, then his average gets back to where it was, right?
Okay, I won't argue that. That's just science right there.
Can we agree to disagree on this as far as Kyle Busch's losing streak?
Yes.
We do agree down here, or up here, Crystal.
I'm surprised they both said yes at the same time. A lot to follow tonight, but we also have a new addition, a new sponsor, and a milestone making their way into our news and notes. Some other stories to follow. On April 26th, Matt and Ashley Crafton celebrated the birth of their first child, daughter Elodie. On Wednesday afternoon, NTS Motorsports announced that driver Brennan Newberry will sport the new blue and yellow colors of Core 24 in the 24 truck. With the permission of NASCAR, Newberry will run the 24 instead of the previous number 14. And Brendan Gaughan will make his 200th series start tonight. Gaughan currently has a 138 race winless streak. Gaughan has finished in the top 5 though in his last 2 races and currently sits 7th in the standings. Some of you may be new to our Truck Series broadcast, perhaps drawn in by a soap opera-like storyline. Earlier this week, the team transporter for Jennifer Jo Cobb Racing turned up missing. Now, the Rowan County Sheriff's Department arrested but then released driver Mike Harmon for alleged involvement. Both drivers were on the track yesterday practicing together, but Jennifer Jo Cobb failed to make a qualifying lap. Therefore, she is not in the race tonight. Speed will continue to follow this story. Wow, a lot going on. Coming up, Michael Waltrip talks with Kyle Busch about wearing both the driver's and owner's hat, something Michael knows a thing or two about. Do he and Kyle feel the same about their dual roles?
Well, don't race teams lose money?
Yes, they do. Any Cup dreams in the future? You think about owning a Cup team one day?
And since it's All-Star Weekend, we will take a look at some of the sport's future stars who currently call the Truck Series home. Of RVs, parts, accessories, and service. Visit campingworld.com today.
Everybody's here to celebrate racing at Charlotte. When you come here in May, All-Star Weekend, this truck race is a big deal.
We have a big race in store for you tonight. You win here, you hold your head a little bit higher.
Green flag in the air, we're underway.
These guys are very aggressive.
Go right up into you.
Emotions running high. And
That's an argument.
they're 3 wide fighting for position. The pass on the inside by Hornaday.
Up top, 4 wide.
Justin Lofton, look at the leadings pulled out while these guys been racing. Lofton is going to win at Charlotte. Lofton gets his first win in the Truck Series. The heated discussion going on here between 2 drivers.
We heard Keselowski's crew chief say the 9 jacked us up. That bump right there that Hornaday put into the back of Brett Keselowski had him sideways, and that gave the lead to Justin Lofton.
Justin Lofton gets his first career win in Camping World Truck Series, and Eddie Sharp's so excited because it's right here at home in Charlotte.
This race has a knack for creating new all-stars. Yes, last year it was Justin Lofton's turn to grab the headlines, winning his first career Truck Series race. He is back in the field tonight, but it's tough to bet against Kyle Busch or Ron Hornaday. They have won 6 of the last 8 races here, and starting up front is key. 8 of the 10 races have been won from a top 10 starting position, once from the pole. Well, Kyle Busch Motorsports has 3 trucks in the field tonight. Joey Coulter in the 18 starts 17th. His teammate, Darrell Wallace Jr., will roll off 13th. Meanwhile, the boss, Kyle Busch, is the best of the bunch. He starts on the outside of row 2 in 4th. Well, Kyle most certainly used to be a staple in our races, but last year he scaled back his driving in the Truck Series. Instead of winning all of the checks, he was writing the checks. Our Michael Waltrip knows what it's like to race for the team you own. Recently, Michael caught up with Kyle to see how he balances both.
Hey, Michael Waltrip here. I'm at Kyle Busch Motorsports in Mooresville, North Carolina. A couple of the younger owners in the NASCAR world. Help me understand putting all this on your plate. Why now in your career, with you being at the prime of your Cup driving career, invest in all this?
Good question. It started a lot smaller than this. And each step we took, we're like, okay, we need to add this, or we need to add that. And I'm like, man, how are we going to pay for this? Oh, well, we need a race team to run out of here in order to pay for it. You pay rent. Well, don't race teams lose money?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but you're paying the building off, so whatever. But why this early in my lifetime? I think it was just because I built this building too quick.
I know people appreciate you giving back to the sport.
Sure.
You know, you could be sitting on your boat if you wanted to be, but there's men and women walking around this shop that I've seen in the NASCAR garage for years, and they have a job because of Kyle Busch Motorsports. That's got to make you proud.
It does, and you know, this is like a kid. You know, Samantha and I, we've been married for 2 years. We're not quite ready for that step yet. But, you know, we birthed the operation here, and it makes you feel like this is something that you really work hard to keep up and going, and especially when it's successful. I mean, like last year, you know, when Kurt won our first Nationwide Series race for us, I mean, that was a pivotal moment. I mean, that was really, really special. That was something that we've worked so hard to do. And when we continue to be successful on the truck side with the Eric Jones or the Joey Coulter or Parker Kligerman on the Nationwide side still, that's the most rewarding feeling. It's like watching your kid winning a Little League game and going to the World Series and winning that and everything else.
How challenging is it for you to put people in your trucks or your cars and then think, you know, I could go faster? It turns out you're pretty good.
That's sometimes a little bit frustrating because you know your equipment's good and you can get in it and you can run good, but there's a lot of good young guys that are out there that do have the opportunity or could have the opportunity to make a name for themselves and do pretty well in our stuff. The toughest thing is we never really had somebody in it for more than 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Right.
You know, Joey Coulter is going to be our first guy ever to go for a Truck Series Drivers Championship here at KBM.
It's just been really cool to watch Joey Coulter and watch Darrell Wallace Jr. and even Eric Jones. You've got 3 candidates. You could go for a long ways with these guys.
Yeah, you really can. And like I said, I mean, it takes sponsorship money at the end of the day to make these kids more successful. But Eric, you know, he's from the Michigan area up there, and if you can get a company that's close to that area, that's based up there, that wants to help a young kid out and prosper and maybe move with them up through the ranks, like the one that first comes to mind is a Granger with Greg Biffle.
Right.
I mean, starting a truck series, you move to Nationwide together, you go to Cup together. You know, something like that for Eric would be phenomenal for not only us, but for him to be able to move him through. And we've got the right connections here at KBM, coming from the truck level to a Nationwide level to my operation that I work with Joe Gibbs Racing, being at the Cup level.
So, favorite moment as owner so far?
The best moment, I'd say, is us in our first year of existence. We won the Truck Owners Championship.
Right, 8 races, too.
8 races in the Truck Owners Championship, and if we would have been running full-time, I feel like we could have gone for a Drivers Championship.
The big question, any Cup dreams in the future? You think about owning a Cup team one day?
Well, being an operation as small as this is, it's hard to compete at that level. But you never know. We'll see. I mean, if I look at my watch, I'd say 10, 15 years down the road, something could change. And, you know, hopefully this place is a bigger powerhouse than what it is today. And, you know, you go Cup racing and start at that level again.
There you see some of Kyle's numbers. Wow, 30 career Truck Series win, the second most all-time, as we talked about trying to break that 7-race winless streak, but 18 team wins for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Well, Michael Waltrip was most certainly the person to talk to Kyle about being a driver and an owner. So I want a little bit more from Michael. I want to know, how does the role of owner change here at the track compared to where you talk to Kyle at the shop?
Well, what's most important as an owner who's a race car driver as well is good people behind you. People that can make decisions and support the team when you're busy driving your race car. So at the racetrack, Kyle Busch is all about being a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race-winning driver. And when he's at the shop, he just wants to chip in, help Rick Wren and all those boys make decisions that can make those trucks and his Nationwide cars win.
Okay, what is Kyle's #1 biggest challenge, the #1 thing on his to-do list, maybe right now, minute 20?
You know what I think he really wants to see happen is win a championship with one of his full-time drivers. He talked about Joey Coulter being a full-time driver, Bubba Wallace as well. He's got Parker Kligerman in the Nationwide Series. He owns those cars, and if he could have one of his drivers win a championship, I think that would be today, other than ending his slump that he's in, you know, 7 races without a win as a driver, today as an owner, having one of those guys win a championship.
All right, thanks, Michael, and we'll be catching up with you coming up in just a bit. Thank you very much. And as we said, it's a big show. We heard from Michael regarding Kyle's organization, but still to come, what about tonight's race? Could Brad Keselowski finally fill out the missing page on his resume? We'll go upstairs and ask the analysts next. Ryan Blaney starts 9th tonight. He already has a win in his young NASCAR Camping World Truck Series career. Brennan Newberry, who was on the pole in Daytona, will roll off 15th tonight. Always a big smile on his face. And Matt Crafton, a former Charlotte winner, is just one position ahead of Newberry. Matt rolls off 14th. Each of those drivers has gotten to this point in his career by racing anything, anytime. It's a mantra the drivers still follow today. And while our series has been off for a month, these drivers have not slowed down. Kristen Beat has more.
Kristen Beat out here at Mooresville Motorplex, where a few of your favorite NASCAR Camping World Truck Series drivers are getting back to their grassroots. Standing here with BKR racer Ryan Blaney, you made your start in karts. What brings you back to karting?
Well, karting's always a good way to get back to your grassroots. It's just pure fun racing. This is just always something fun to do. I mean, a lot of drivers, NASCAR or even, F1 and other racing series, they come out here and they use karting just as either a form of training or just something to go do as fun.
Here with Kyle Larson. Now, you're really diverse in your seat time. How do you actually delegate your seat time as to hobby racing or real racing? Do you approach it differently?
No, I don't approach it any differently. I want to go out there and win every race.
There's more competitiveness here at the Motorplex than there is on the actual racetrack.
Everybody wants to come out here and get a shot at winning and, saying they won out here for a week. So it's cool. It's all about racing. Anything that any drivers get in, they're going to be competitive.
We know we can beat bang here, and it doesn't cost $1,000 if we do it here than on a truck. So very fun to come in here and race your buddies that you race with on a weekly basis.
Matt Crafton, usually behind the wheel of the '88 Menards ThorSport Racing Toyota. Tell me a little bit about what's bringing you out to the kart track.
Just brushing up on my road racing. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. That's how I sold getting to be able to have a go-kart. And we're going to Mossport this year with our Menards Toyota Tundra, and I haven't been out road course in a long, long time. So just brushing up on some of the road racing skills.
Of a 125cc engine or in the starting lineup of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. These drivers are competitive 24/7, always taking advantage of a little bit of seat time. For more down-home racing, make sure you check back with the Grassroots Beat.
Thanks, Kristen. Future All-Stars, a couple of next-generation drivers, sons of NASCAR All-Stars, trying to make their own mark in the sport, like Jeb Burton and Ryan Blaney. Now, Darrell Wallace Jr. has been a page-turner since he entered NASCAR. And speaking of Jeb Burton, he continues to be the fastest man in town, at least when it comes to qualifying. He scores his 3rd pole in just 5 races this season. So could one of those young guys break onto the scene tonight, or will Matt Crafton steal the show? Let's head back upstairs to the broadcast booth where Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip are probably continuing to agree to disagree. Right, guys?
Oh, no. We always agree up here. One of the questions and the stories that we're going to talk about today, especially is the 98 team and the fact that Joe Shear is not here. This will be the first time that Joe Shear hasn't been a part of a win. If Johnny Sauter gets to victory lane, can that happen tonight?
I think it's going to be a struggle. I think that we saw Matt Kenseth win without Jason Radcliffe at Darlington last week. Well, this is not Joe Gibbs Racing. That Joe Gibbs Racing has talent throughout, have hundreds of people that can do the job. ThorSport Racing is a lot smaller team. I don't think they have the depth that certainly somebody like Gibbs has. So I think they're going to struggle here. I was talking to Johnny yesterday during practice, and he said they were a little bit lost. And I said, well, who's the crew chief? He said, at that time, he said, I don't know. So I think right now for them, it's going to try to get through here. They had a month to prepare for this race because Joe's been out for a month. They've known for a month he hasn't been able to be here. So it's going to be probably a better chance to do well here because the other 3 races he's going to be out for 3 and 4 weeks. So it's going to be very difficult for them to bounce back. So I think it's going to be a struggle here for him.
The other big story, Michael, you were number 22 as far as joining the fraternity of drivers that have won in all 3 series. Can Brad join that fraternity?
Yes, and I think he can join it here tonight. He is so focused on getting this truck win. You got to remember, he started racing the trucks back in 2004 with his family operation. The family's commitment to that young man got him a ride nationwide and eventually landed him as our Cup champion. So he knows how important this series is to him, and he wants to be a winner. What do you think about that, Ray?
Might be hard for Brad Keselowski to get a win today, because if he's going to do it, he's going to have to pass the Ford truck. Jeb Burton very fast with his Kangaroo Express race truck, and you got the pole. Congratulations. But if you're going to get your first win in NASCAR in the Camping World Trucks, how cool would it be for it to happen right here at Charlotte?
First off, I need to thank Arrowhead and Kangaroo Express for hopping on board this weekend, and you know, this team's doing a great job, and it'd be huge to win here at Charlotte. Family and friends here, and all the guys from the shop working hard, and they're here tonight, so it'd be really cool.
These guys have been very, very fast, Krista. 3 top 10s this year and a 15th at Kansas City. The Ford truck is on a roll.
Yes, most certainly is. Jeb, right near us, because we're up at the front of the grid. The green flag is getting closer as All-Star Weekend rolls on from Charlotte. We'll be back to wrap up the setup and get you ready to race next. Charlotte Motor Speedway hosts the Sprint All-Star Race, but tonight it's the Truck Series All-Stars who have the spotlight all to themselves. Of course, you can see the All-Star Race only and exclusively on Speed. It's a huge weekend for Speed.